We're 100 games into the season, so we need to ask, are the Yankees a disappointment, or is this exactly who they were destined to be?
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granato. Steve, what's going on?
What's going on today's show? Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Of course, we have a preview of the Subway Series, which starts tonight, Game 1. Coming up later on tonight from the Bronx. Of course, Game 2, just that quick two-gamer tomorrow. We're going to talk about Game 1 tonight. Stacey, we promised it on yesterday's show, but save the big guy. Pretty much all the outfield is there and what the Yankees anticipated. So how are they going to utilize, or how should they utilize the outfield? We're going to talk about that later on in the show. First, Stacey, like you said, we are 100 games into the season. The Yankees are 53-47. From your perspective, are the Yankees a disappointment this season?
Yes. Yes. There are a lot of factors as to why they're a disappointment, but yes, I would have expected better than 53-47 after 100 games.
Where did you earmark them heading in close to the deadline here? If you can take your brain back to spring training, Stace, where did you have them going into the deadline?
I figured they'd be closer to the top of the division, probably closer to 60 wins, more like a 60-40 kind of a thing going on after 100, more of a gap there between wins and losses. We knew the division was going to be tough coming into the season, and I didn't really want to predict them as first place finishers, but I figured they'd be up there somewhere. So I was not expecting this, tied for last place. But then again, last place in the AL East is like first place in other divisions. It just stinks that you're in a division with a bunch of tough teams.
Did you have them out of the wild card? I mean, they're not out of the wild card, but you know what I mean, out of a wild card position. Like at this moment in time, if the season ended today, the Yankees are sitting at home. Did you anticipate that?
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
nope.
I think I'm right there with you. Like you mentioned, there are a bunch of factors at play, and the biggest one, I think maybe the biggest shock for both of us and maybe all of Yankee fans and maybe all of baseball is the drastic difference in play when Judge is in or out of the lineup. I mean, that has been maybe the most shocking thing this season.
Yeah. Although it shows you how much of an MVP he is, because without him, they're terrible.
Yeah.
Like how much he elevates the team. Because, people are always like, I know a lot of people knock the MVP award when someone from a team that doesn't do as well wins it. And they think, well, why would he be MVP? This and that. And it just shows you how important Aaron Judge is to this team. I mean, I didn't think they'd fall off as badly as they have in his absence. I figured they wouldn't do as well, but this is just, it's shocking how much they fell off after he got injured.
Yeah. I know there were a lot of people, and rightfully so, at the start of the season or leading up to the season, post off season, right? Going into spring training and going, what's going on in left field, right? What's going to happen in that outfield? Again, we're going to talk about the outfield a little bit later on in full detail. But bat-wise, offense-wise, it's about as bad as it could possibly be. And for as doom and gloom as a lot of people were making out that lineup to be entering the season, I don't think anyone could predict that it would be this bad as a whole.
No. It's one of the worst offenses in baseball. The fact that they have 53 wins is kind of a miracle considering how bad the offense is.
Yeah, I mean, considering the pitching has been the bright spot this season, even though it has certainly gone through some downs.
Yes.
It has gone through many, many injuries. But, I mean, yeah, like you said, to be 6 games over 5, yes, I know that includes a sweep of the Royals here these past couple of days. But, it's just I don't think I'm going to go as far as disappointment. maybe lean a little bit more into the camp of what we may have expected, but I wouldn't expect it to be this low offensively. I think I fully anticipated more production out of the offense. Of course, no one could have predicted that Judge would miss as much time as he has, because it's not just the one stint, it's 2 stints this year.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about our biggest disappointments and our biggest surprises, Stacey, before we get to a little bit of news. Stacey, what has been your biggest disappointment for the Yankees this season?
I would say Giancarlo Stanton, just because he hasn't done anything in Judge's absence. He's picked it up lately. Within the last, I saw a stat earlier about how much his stats have picked up in the last eight games or so, so since the break. But as a whole, I'm disappointed. I was really hoping that he would pick it up a bit in Judge's absence once he came back from being injured. You could also say the same thing for Rizzo, but I'm picking Stanton in this instance.
I think my biggest disappointment is Oswaldo Cabrera. I can't, he's not even on the team. I think that tells you everything you need to know. He's not even on the team right now.
Yeah.
That is about as disappointing as it gets, I think, is Cabrera's lack of production. He has certainly gotten the opportunity, and I think that stings the most. You could see it if it's a guy that's playing every 3 or 4 days and, he hasn't really picked anything up. But, I mean, he was starting in multiple positions. He's gotten the chances. He's been shifted through the lineup, and it just has not worked out for him. And I hope he can figure it out, because there's a lot of talent and a lot of energy behind that guy, and a lot of value out of an Oswaldo Cabrera. And I just hope that it's just a sophomore slump.
Right.
Stacey, we don't want to be all doom and gloom, because that's not what we do on this show.
Right.
What has been your biggest good surprise this season?
I would say Ian Hamilton, just because he came out of nowhere. Kind of like Lucas Lecky a couple seasons ago. Like, who are these guys? Where are they coming from? And, it was not funny, but when he got injured, it was sort of amusing, because you thought to yourself, oh my God, this is bad that he got injured. And you're thinking to yourself, a couple months ago, you had no idea who Ian Hamilton was. And now you're upset that he's going to miss some time with that injury. And he's come back. He's been great.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can push that even further, Stacey, just the bullpen in general.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think either of us anticipate it being, save the last couple of weeks, as
Right.
good as it has been, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about the success, the 6 games over 5, without that bullpen, even that bullpen is 50% of what it is, 60% of what that is. That's more like a 500 record, right?
Yep.
It's crazy. My biggest surprise in a good way, and this might ruffle some feathers, I think has been Glaber. Glaber, to me, was a guy that I didn't really even earmark starting. I didn't have Glaber as a starting second baseman for this team. I thought, at least for what they wanted, was Donaldson, Volpe, LeMahieu, and Rizzo, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the ideal heading out of spring training into the season. And here we are 100 games later. Donaldson is done for the season, and Oswald's up, and DJ's platooning, and Glaber's every day. Like, it's crazy. I didn't put it past Glaber to be, I thought he was going to be a super bench guy, but it's pretty incredible. And look, it's been a little rocky, a little wavy, but recently, since the break, pretty impressive. Drop your biggest disappointments and biggest surprises in the comments here on YouTube. And of course, also let us know, is this team disappointing to you, or is it what you expected? Again, drop that in the YouTube comments down below. A little bit of news, Stacey. This is coming from multiple sources. And of course, this we're taking from the New York Post. The Yankees hired Andy Pettitte officially as an advisor with the team. This is what Boone had to say about what that role means. Quote, it's kind of his schedule where, as I tell him as much as he can. Obviously, he's got obligations back home. So we'll see him at times where he'll pop in on the road. We'll see him here. I'm saving a seat for him on the plane wherever he wants to jump in. And what Boone expects out of him is, quote, just impact the players like he does. He's got a good relationship with Matt and Hart, the bullpen coach, and the pitching guys. He communicates with different pitchers throughout the season via phone. He does it with position players too. So I just want him breathing into our guys. Stacey, your thoughts on this Andy Pettitte advisor role?
I kind of love it just because I love Pettitte. Pettitte's the guy that I've seen the most live in person, playoffs, regular season, everything. And he's one of my guys. And I know that he had texting relationships with CeCe. I know he had it with A-Rod. I know he had it with Jordan Montgomery when he was still here. So I like this. He knows what it's like to win championships. He knows what it's like to lose championships. He knows what it's like to be on the big stage. And he knows what it's like to have people, booing him. And I feel like this is a good guy to have around just to like get these players on a better course, I guess, because, we saw even last week when they were swept by Anaheim and that interview with Rizzo, he just had no answers for anything. And then switched to Sunday after sweeping the Royals. And yes, we keep saying, yes, we realize it's the Royals. We're not going to make such a big deal out of it. But the shift in attitude, it's like, winning changes things. And I feel like having someone like Pettitte around to let them know that, things will be okay. You just have to get through the bad stuff because he's done it. I think it might actually help just a little bit.
And don't forget, he was pitching coach for the Team USA WBC. I know, Steve, bringing up WBC, shocking. But look what he did with that staff. So not full pitching coach. I'm curious to see how much we see him, honestly.
Yeah.
How much
I know he was working with Loizaga. Like he was talking to Loizaga after Loizaga threw the other day. And I didn't even realize it was Pettitte because I had my TV muted. And then I looked at his face and realized, oh my God, that's Andy Pettitte. Okay. So yeah, I like it.
Drop your questions down below here on YouTube for our Fan Mail Friday episodes. Let us know how you're feeling about the Andy Pettitte signing. And, of course, join our subtext. All the information is in the episode description. We need to step aside. When we come back, let's talk about the Yankees outfield.
Here at Locked On Yankees, we think buying baseball tickets shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater shows near you. Steve's used Game Time for tickets for this season, and it's been extremely simple. They take all the work out of buying tickets, so all you do is tap a few times and you're in. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the moments before first pitch. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for other events too, like football, basketball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With their lowest price guarantee and even event cancellation protection, Game Time is the best place to buy tickets in just a matter of seconds. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Back here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, you guys already know this, but you can catch the Subway Series, which starts tonight on Sirius XM. Of course, on tomorrow's show, the Everydayers also know that we are going to be recapping Game 1, which we're going to preview a little bit later on in the show. Stacey, we need to talk about the outfield. The Yankees outfield has been in flux all year. It has been shaky. It has been rocky. It has been lack of production. It's had some moments. And we have, like we said earlier, 100 games of data to go off of now. And save the big hitter, the big boy. Pretty much everybody's there. So they have, right now, the Yankees have who they quote unquote want, right? In the roster, in the franchise, in the system is the better word. This is who they've chosen, right? They have a choice now of who's up. And those choices, those answers are Greg Allen, Harrison Bader, Jake Bauers, weirdly enough, IKF, Billy McKinney, and Giancarlo Stanton. Those are the guys that can play outfield. The guys that they elected to not have up are Oswaldo Cabrera, Franchi Cordero, Everson Pereira, which makes sense, And then the 2 injuries of Willie Calhoun and Aaron Judge. So, of course, the caveat being this is a judgeless situation right now. Stacy, I went through the numbers, and I want you to let me know how you feel about my choices for 3 different outfield scenarios. I have 3 different ones. Righties, against lefties, and if you're focusing on defense first. And I'll explain some of it. I'm not going to go through every single pick, but here's my versus right-handed outfield alignment. In left, I put IKF. In center, it's Harrison Bader. And in right, I have Jake Bauers. Now, the caveat being here is, 1, spoiler alert, Bader's in center every time.
Right.
Doesn't matter what you're doing. Bader is in center field.
Yeah.
Bauers, I put in right to give Stanton a little bit of time off. I need Stanton has to be in the lineup every day. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Right.
But he definitely needs to be in the lineup against righties because of his career numbers, homer-wise, are astronomically higher against right-handed pitchers. Whatever reason, who knows? He's just hit way more homers against righties than he has lefties, even though his overall numbers are better against lefties. Homers, however, they just, for whatever reason, fly out of the ballpark against righties. IKF is the best bat in this situation. Overall, when you're looking at the numbers, if you wanted to start a more true outfielder against a right-hander, it should be Billy McKinney. Which leads me into lefties. If you're facing a lefty, I have Billy McKinney in left. That can be in flux, but right now I have him in left. As I said earlier, Bader's in center, and Stanton has to be in right. I don't have Bauers in this lineup. Career numbers against lefties are just not good. And that's not just majors. That is across the
All
board.
over. Yeah.
If the Yankees are facing lefty, I do not want Jake Bauers in the lineup. I can have him come off the bench and face a right-hander, but I am not having him face a lefty. And then if you're looking at your defense, first lineup, you have McKinney in left, Bader in center, with a caveat being I want Greg Allen off of the bench to come into center if you want it. If you need someone to come in defensively, you need to have Allen come in. That's your best bench option in that situation, to put him in center and then shift your outfielders elsewhere. Of course, that's if Bader is being the one being swapped out. And then Stanton in right, with another slight caveat, that being Franchi Cordero is your best right field option out of the guys that we have figuring in the offense and, of course, the defense. So if they were to get Cordero back up, that's who I would have replace in right field if you're thinking defense first. Stacey, your thoughts on my method to my madness?
I still can't believe IKF is an outfielder at this point. I know he's been doing it all season, but it's just so funny that he's played everywhere. I agree with most of this. Because I do agree that Stanton has to play all the time. He can't sit. So if you're not going to have him out in the field, you have to have him DH. Billy McKinney is great out there. I mean, we had the Billy McKinney day the other night. He made those 2 amazing plays. And I wouldn't mind him being in center if Bader can't play center. I wouldn't mind him playing center, but I like him in left also. Kind of surprised about the Bauers thing, though, because I always feel like anytime a ball is hit to him, I kind of cringe because he's either turning the wrong way or something's happening. It happened the other day against the Royals. But I guess versus righties, you could put him out there.
Yeah, I mean, remember, that's in flux. You could have Stanton out there, but if you needed to give him a half day off, I figured do it then. That way you get Bauers in right. Bauers also has a pretty decent arm.
Yes.
So that's why I have him in right. I stick IKF in left. I feel like he reads the ball fairly better out in left field. It's also just an easier read in general. So you put him out there in the theory of it's the easiest thing you can do to him as a, let's say, a learning outfielder still.
Right. Yes. Because he is really still learning how to play out there. I mean, you see it in some of the moves also that he makes, but I mean, he's doing everything they want him to do. So yeah, that's a pretty good move putting him there. But yeah, I like all this. It's just really funny because when I look at the number of guys they have, I think of Cashman's quote a few years ago as to why he wouldn't sign Bryce Harper because they already had 6 outfielders. What I wouldn't do to have Bryce Harper on this team right now.
Oh, Bryce Harper's a first baseman. Where
I
did you
know,
get the
but
news?
he would have been he would have been in the outfield for the Yankees, and every time I think of it. But yeah, now he's a first baseman. I mean, baseball, you can't predict it.
I think what I learned while doing this is, and this is no knock on him, but mathematically, Greg Allen just doesn't offer much to the Yankees roster. And if Cabrera was 80% of what he was last year, Greg Allen's in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Cabrera offers just so much more versatility defensively. I would pick him over Franchi overall. Of course, Pereira, as we mentioned, Everson Pereira, not ready, very much not ready just yet. And then until Judge comes back, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah, I mean, defensively, I think you could put IKF in center. He's got good speed, and we know that he is just an athletic player. So if you had to put him in center, if Bader needs a day off, I think that might be the situation. I'm not feeling super comfortable with Stanton in center.
No.
So
No.
I would, if you need to give Bader a day off, I think it's IKF getting the call in center field.
Yeah, no, I feel definitely Stanton can only be in right because he barely moves around as it is. Because I can't even imagine seeing him trying to patrol center field.
Yeah.
That might actually be really, really funny. But no, let's not do that.
Let us know here on YouTube in the comments down below. How are you feeling about my ideal but less than ideal, what we're working with outfield arrangement, right? Again, this is what the Yankees have right now. And I don't think, again, I think save the Greg Allen situation, it's too far off of what they could, in theory, want.
Now, ideal with Judge would be Judge in right, Bader in center. Who would be left? Stanton?
I almost flip it and put Stanton in right just because of his career numbers being so much better when he's in the outfield. And if you have to stick him somewhere, it's in right field. They've only had, I believe I saw this somewhere, so don't fully quote me on this, but it's something to the effect of Bader, Judge, Stanton in the outfield 11 times this season.
That seems like more than I thought it would have been. I thought you were going to say 3 because that sounded better. Yeah. That sounded more.
At least in the lineup together. I believe that was what the number was. Don't fully quote me on that, but I believe it was something to that effect. Wow. So I think I'd have to dive a little bit deeper, but I think I put, just because for whatever reason Stanton's numbers are better when he's in the outfield, what have you. Maybe there's a deeper look into that. Why? But maybe I go Judge left, Bader center, Stanton right. I think that's how I lined it up on opening day anyway. So, again, let us know how you're feeling about this and my choices and the method to my madness. We're going to step aside. We need to talk about the Subway Series and, of course, give you our bold predictions when we come back. Back here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, the Subway Series starts tonight on SiriusXM. Just Google SiriusXM. Of course, download the SiriusXM app, available everywhere. Stacey, game 1 tonight. Verlander, Herman. Man, what a rocky season for Justin Verlander it's been. What a rocky tenure in New York. Domingo Germán. Maybe not the premier matchup everybody thought this could be, but Herman's pitching better over the last month.
Yeah.
Verlander's coming off of a pretty darn good start, though. So we'll see if either of those give or not. But, I mean, just the baseline numbers aren't incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to be positive about this, but, it's like, ooh, the Subway Series between 2 really mid teams. Mid, that's what the kids say, right? Mid? They're mid. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the last time these 2 teams met, it was a good series. Remember that 2-game set was one of the shockingly good series of the year.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be the same. We'll see.
They're still important games.
Of course.
They're still very
Yeah.
important games for the Yankees.
And they're important for the Mets too, because, right now the Mets are under 50 wins. And
Yeah, I think they're less important to the Mets. I think it's done for the Mets.
yeah, they're going to sell.
I think they're done.
Yeah.
They're done.
Yeah.
Sure ain't winning the East.
Oh my God. No, that's been done
close.
since May.
Are they mathematically eliminated?
I
Actually,
know it's almost at that point. It's
Yeah.
almost at that point. Yeah.
No, I think the Mets are done. Game 2, Quintana versus Rodon. That's going to be interesting to see him at Yankee Stadium, isn't it? Considering the kiss of death in Anaheim. We'll see if that matters to anybody. Of course, he has to obviously right the ship as well. Stacy, bold predictions for this series. Do you have them for the Subway sets?
The Yankees are going to hit 3 home runs off Verlander.
Ooh, that's big. That's big. How bold do I want to be? Because something hit my brain and I'm going, that's too bold, Steve.
No, you can never be too bold.
Well, see, I'm also behind in the standings.
Right.
Because
Is this the first week that you didn't yell at me that I didn't go bold enough?
Yes, because that's pretty bold. Going deep 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick on the homers. Rizzo homers in both games.
Ooh. Is he hitting one off Verlander?
That's not going to happen. But hey, that's
I don't even
bold.
think the Yankees aren't going to even hit 3 in the series, but I'm saying they're going to hit 3 off Verlander in the first game.
Yeah, we'll stick on the homer. We're going homers in this one. Rizzo homers Tuesday night and Rizzo homers Wednesday night. 3 games in a row. Out of nowhere, just finally figured it out. We'll see. Everyone was super mad at us yesterday because we were happy that Anthony Rizzo had a good game.
Yeah.
What do you guys want from us? I don't get it. Whatever. All right. Hey, that's just about it for today's Locked On Yankees. You can drop your questions for Fan Mail Friday as a reply to the pinned comment here on YouTube. That's down below. Of course, if you're on the audio side, our YouTube channel link is in the show notes. Of course, if you're on the YouTube side and you want to take us on the go, download us for offline listening. You can do so on any audio platform. And you can also join our subtext where you skip the line for Fan Mail Friday. You get text messages from Stacy and myself. Of course, all the information is in the episode description. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacy Gotsoulias. We'll see you tomorrow.